Hey there, besties. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to continue the recap of the manhwa Lucia. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the video because it really helps our channel grow. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. At night, the couple lay together in their bedroom, Lucia's head resting against Duke Hugo's chest. I like listening to his heartbeat, Lucia thought as she listened to its steady rhythm. Starting tomorrow, I won't be in Rome for a few days, he said, prompting her sudden shock. Where are you going? Lucia inquired, looking up to meet his gaze. To inspect the territory. From now on, I'll be doing an inspection once or twice a month, he answered. The lord of a domain has to do that kind of work too? She questioned, feeling unmotivated. Of course, there must be order, he explained. Inspecting the territory, Lucia thought, her eyes lighting up. So that's what a lord is supposed to do, she thought as he kissed her cheek. Count Metten, my husband in my dream, never did that even once, she thought, remembering her dream. Will it take long? She asked. 3 or 4 days. If it drags on, it could take a few days longer than that, Duke Hugo said, holding her face. So, I can't see him for 3 or 4 days, she thought as he brushed her hair away from her face. Without even realizing it, Lucia had gotten used to having the Duke by her side. He embraced her. Please come back soon, she thought. If I say that, will he be annoyed? She wondered, squeezing him as she embraced him tightly. You have a tea party in 2 days, right? He asked Lucia, to which she acquiesced. I have something for you, he told her, still embracing her. It should arrive tomorrow or the day after that, he added with a slight smile. What is it? Lucia asked, her curiosity piqued. A gift. The gift for the last tea party didn't seem like enough, he told her. A gift? From him? For me? Lucia thought, blushing, her heart racing at the thought. May I ask what it is? She asked, her heart racing. A necklace, he told her promptly. Oh. You're telling me that easily? She wondered, her anticipation deflating. He's not one for surprises, really, Lucia thought, looking at him. Do you not like jewels? Duke Hugo asked. Who doesn't like jewels? She retorted, sliding her hand down his chest. Then that's settled, he told her. Do you have any plans for while I'm away? He asked, puzzling her. Aside from the tea party in 2 days, I don't have any particular plans, she told him. Don't think about doing anything unusual because I'm not here. Just be good and stay put, he said to her. What do you mean, unusual? Lucia asked him. I'm just telling you to carry on as you always have, he said. In particular, you must not go outside, he added, stunning her. I wasn't really thinking of going outside, but why is he specifically forbidding that? Lucia thought, looking perplexed. I have no reason to leave because everything I need is already inside the castle. That's why I haven't gone out at all this whole time, she thought. Why? Lucia asked softly. Do you want to go out? He asked her. Not really, but still, anything could happen. You should clearly tell me the reason so I can understand, Lucia said, needing an explanation, looking tense. Well, he began, looking tense. While I'm gone, I don't want you to leave my territory, Duke Hugo thought, holding her face tenderly. While I'm not here, you must watch over the castle as the lady of the house, he told her calmly. There was a brief moment of silence between them. I see, Lucia said excitedly. Duke Hugo sighed in relief. She bought it, he thought. Do you have any other instructions for me? She asked him with a smile. He smirked. I won't be able to see this smile for a few days, he thought, leaning closer and touching her face as he gazed into her eyes. I'm already worried, he thought, kissing her deeply. The next day, Duke Hugo's carriage rattled as it made its way outside the castle. As it rode away, Lord Philip observed from a distance. Is he leaving? He thought, glancing at the moving carriage. Stepping forward towards the castle, suddenly 2 guards appeared from nowhere, drawing their swords against his neck. There will be trouble if you go in, Lord Philip, said the guard with a sword against his neck, startling him. Are you watching me? He asked, looking tense. "We will not restrict you in any way, as long as you do not enter the castle," the second guard told him. "But why? What is your reason for this?" he demanded. "We don't know the reason. We simply follow orders. If you resist, we have the authority to physically contain you when necessary," the second guard told him with a stern warning, the sword still drawn against his neck. Lord Philip couldn't help but agree. "I understand," he said, succumbing to their instructions. He turned away, leaving the guards. He paused shortly, observing the castle from the side. "Must I leave again?" he wondered. A long time ago, there was an era when magic dictated the order of the world. In those days, the magical empire ruled the entire globe. A small group of nobles reigned over the many ordinary citizens. These nobles had black hair and black eyes. Other than that, they looked no different from humans. However, compared to ordinary humans, the power they possessed was overwhelming and absolute. The empire ruled with magic, but only nobles could use magical powers. Their bloodline was preserved by marrying within the family. The nobles were cruel and merciless without exception, as if they had all been born that way. Even if thousands of humans attacked a single noble, the humans didn't stand a chance. The nobles' rule became absolute, and soon humans fell into deep despair. It seemed like the world order would never change. But then one day, something happened that changed it all. An enormous earthquake occurred in a wasteland far, far away. There were no villages nearby, so the damage was not critical. People didn't think much of it, and everyone treated it as a meaningless accident. However, from that day forward, the order of the world began to crumble. The magical power that filled the air began to disperse. Magical tools could no longer function. They deteriorated into rubbish. As soon as the power that ran through the veins of the nobles disappeared, they became no different from ordinary humans. When humans realized they could overthrow their former oppressors using their own strength, their fear turned into terrible madness. The hunt for nobles began. As the madness of humans swept across the world, one brother and sister managed to survive. They were the Taruns. By nature, the Tarun family was only half noble. The blood of their distant ancestors was mixed with that of humans, so they were shunned by other nobles. When the human blood within the Tarun bloodline awakened, they gained powerful physical and mental capacities, causing their black eyes to turn blood red. The brother and sister lived quietly in hiding, preserving their bloodline and family, waiting until their existence had been completely forgotten. They did not have to wait long. After just a few decades, the magical empire became an old story. After a century, it became a legend. After a long time had passed, the energy of the atmosphere changed. Some remaining magical objects that had not been destroyed began to regain their power. Around that time, the Taruns came out of hiding. They retrieved their hidden treasure and began to rebuild House Tarun. They rallied forces together, using their exceptional skills and charisma. Additionally, starting from the time when House Tarun was rebuilding itself, a few human descendants also joined them. 4 generations, our family's duty has been to preserve the Tarun bloodline. And I've lived only for that purpose my entire life, Lord Philip thought to himself. During the age of the magical empire, no babies were born to couples made up of one human and one noble. However, there was definitely a child in the Tarun bloodline who was born to a human and a noble. How? You might ask. The distant ancestors of House Tarun showed constant interest in this matter, and for generations, they conducted many researches in secret. During the age of the magical empire, the results of the research were useless, but after the nobles fell, the Taruns had to continue their own bloodline. The research finally had a purpose. They discovered that if 2 members of the Tarun family had a child, a son would always be born. If a Tarun had a child with an ordinary woman, a daughter would be born. And so, the Taruns produced sons from their own bloodline and used ordinary women to produce daughters who would become the brides of their half-brothers. For an ordinary woman who was not from the Tarun bloodline to have a child, a special method using 3-leaf mugwort was necessary. The woman must start taking mugwort to stop the bleeding when she gets her first period and continue taking it for at least 1 year. After that, She must spend a night with a descendant of the Taran bloodline and take a medicine to nullify the effects of the mugwort and return the body to its original state. The fertile window lasts until the woman starts getting her period again. Our family has been involved in all of this since the very beginning. As time went by, the knowledge was passed down as a family secret, and the head of House Taran was no longer able to know the exact details, Lord Philip thought, walking gently into the darkness. Now I am the only person left who knows about this method, he thought, striking a match. The family bloodline can only be preserved if young Master Damien has a bride, he thought, remembering the Duke's stern warning against him going near his wife. Just what kind of person is she for him to react like that? He wondered, lighting up a candle. I've watched over the twins since they were born. When young Master, who was left alone, the only thing that remained in his eyes was hatred. I could sense that he would soon lead the family's bloodline to its end, he thought. That certainly would have happened if it weren't for young Master Damien, Philip thought, shaking his head slightly. Some might call this an obsession, but I can't shake off my reluctance to give up. I have lived my entire life with no other meaning for my existence, he thought. In a different scene, Jerome opened the jewel box that was gifted to Lucia by Duke Hugo, revealing amazing jewels. Jerome? What's this? She asked him, looking unimpressed. He smiled. They are gifts for you, my lady. His Excellency personally prepared them for you, Jerome said, smiling proudly. Lucia looked unimpressed as she watched his smile. In the Duke's office, Jerome couldn't help but notice his concentration on some work. Is he still choosing a gift for the lady? Jerome wondered, watching him read the paperwork as he turned piece after piece, searching for a suitable gift for Lucia. To see him agonizing so much over choosing a gift for someone, it's astounding, he thought, observing His Majesty's demeanor. But it looks like he's enjoying it, he remarked, seeing a sudden change in his demeanor to a happy one. This will be good, Duke Hugo said, interrupting Jerome's thought process. After days of consideration, he finally made a decision, he thought, upon seeing him raise a particular piece of paper, finalizing his search. Jerome collects the paper and sees his choice. Oh, he exclaims a bit tensed. Your Excellency, I beg your pardon, but I heard that a royal family from another country has already won the bid for this necklace at a previous auction, he tells him. Find out who it is, Duke Hugo commanded him, perplexing the butler. Give them 2 or 3 times as much money and get that necklace, he tells Jerome. I've decided on this for her gift and I won't change my mind, the Duke says, wearing a light smile. Jerome stood there in amazement, not uttering a word. Yes, Your Excellency, he says. I want to give her something special. I want this gift to be so special that she'll remember it forever, Duke Hugo remarked as he looked at the necklace he wanted to get for Lucia. This will definitely suit Vivian very well, he remarked with a smirk. Back to the present moment, Lucia puts on the necklace, watching herself in the mirror. My lady, it looks stunning on you, Jerome remarked upon seeing her put it on. What on earth is this? Lucia remarked, not impressed despite how sparkling the necklace was. The necklace I was thinking of was something like this, she thought, remarking what kind of necklace she loved to wear. Something like a cute accessory. I didn't expect something like this, something so grand that it looks like it should be passed down as a family heirloom among royalty, she thought, looking at her reflection, the jewelry sparkling before her eyes. Did he really buy this? For me? She asked, turning to look at Jerome. His Excellency regretted that it took longer than expected. He wanted to give it to you personally before he left for the inspection, Jerome remarked, looking happy. This is far too excessive, she says, touching the necklace, jolting Jerome's facial reaction. It's not excessive, my lady, Jerome says loudly. A gift is excessive if the recipient feels uncomfortable, Lucia tells him, clutching onto herself. If I tell His Excellency that I'm uncomfortable with this gift, will he be upset? Lucia asks Jerome softly. Yes, he tells her firmly. Master chose this necklace after agonizing over it for so long. His Excellency doesn't usually select gifts for anyone himself, Jerome says, sobbing inwardly at her indifference towards his master's gift. There's no need for you to feel uncomfortable, my lady. From Master's perspective, it's not excessive at all, he tells her, smiling and leaning forward. But there's no need for me to say that and bring up his previous lovers, he thought inwardly. Because Master is filthy rich, what he really wants to say, she thought, watching him speechless. I see, to him, even something this valuable is no different from giving a simple hair comb as a gift, she thought. Lucia sat down in her parlor, observing the gift given to her by the Duke. She was speechless as she observed the box of jewels. What exactly is his real intention behind this gift? She pondered. No matter how rich he is, this is too excessive of a gift for celebrating my first tea party. Is he so rich that this is no different than giving me a small ring? She wondered, bewildered by his gift as she observed the box more closely, leaning forward. Or, is this a payment? Because he likes sleeping with me. If that's the case, then I'll be extremely upset, she thought with a sad look. Is this a habit of his? He's had so many lovers that giving gifts must be a routine task for him. She pondered upon sliding her hand, feeling the jewels. This is yet another upsetting hypothesis, she thought, groaning in displeasure. Just don't think about it, this gift probably doesn't have any particular meaning, she thought, holding her face, sighing heavily. She opens her eyes in amazement. Being his wife is completely different from what I expected. I thought it would only be desolate and dreary here. But I'm overflowing with happiness and joy every day. His words aren't kind and he doesn't say sweet things, but despite all of that he's affectionate, Lucia thought. He doesn't say things that hurt my feelings either. The rumors are almost laughable now. He's not as scary or vicious as they say, she thought inwardly, casting her face to the floor, blushing at the thought of him. I promised that I wouldn't fall in love with him. I've tried to control my feelings, but every time he smiles mischievously. Every time he firmly wraps his arms around my waist. Every time he kisses me passionately, I keep being swayed, she thought, still casting her head to the floor. Why did he have to give this to me and make me feel so strange? She asked herself. I've withstood it all well until now. I was doing well. But now I'm afraid that I'll cling to him without realizing it, she thought. And what if he sends me a yellow rose someday? Lucia thought with a perplexed look, clenching her dress hard. He is a dignified and courteous nobleman. As such he is simply being courteous to me as my husband. I would only cause trouble if I misunderstand his kindness, she thought. Snap out of it. I've been doing fine until now, don't be swayed. I can continue to stay with him like this if I don't fall for him, she said inwardly, squeezing herself. I was fine until now, she thought, sinking deeply in thoughts. The necklace weighed heavily on my heart and in the end, I never wore it to any formal events. My shaken heart, along with that necklace, I locked them away deep inside that dazzling box, she told herself. Please invite me again next time, a lady tells Lucia. I had a truly wonderful time, Your Grace, commented another lady. Well, then until next time, Lucia says, bidding her guests farewell as she had successfully hosted her second tea party. She watched them leave. What a relief. Everyone left looking satisfied, she thought with a sigh of relief. That means my second tea party was a success as well, right? She thought, impressed with herself but still a little tense. She turned to the sound of someone walking towards her and jolted in shock as she looked at the approaching lady. A lady stood in front of Lucia, looking dazzling. Ah, she was definitely. Lucia thought, looking confused as to who she was. Why doesn't she leave with the other ladies? She wondered. I'm Kate Milton. I introduced myself earlier, right? The lady tells her, introducing herself as Kate Milton, a daughter of House Milton. I've heard a lot about you from my great-aunt, she says cheerfully. Oh, Lucia exclaims, remembering Countess Corzin. I remember now. Madame Michelle boasted a lot about her niece. She said you would be a great friend to me, Lucia exclaims excitedly, clasping her hands together. My great-aunt said that? Kate says, looking stunned at her aunt's remarks. Unbelievable. She always raises her eyebrows like this as soon as she sees me, Kate says, mimicking her aunt's look, making Lucia hold back her laugh. She probably does that because she really adores you. It seemed like she was very proud of you, Lady Kate, Lucia exclaims happily. Kate Milton is stunned at her reaction. To me, she said, I don't know if she would accept the company of a troublemaker like you. But if she does wish to be your friend, you should be very grateful and bow down to her. That's what she told me, Kate said, looking confused as she tells Lucia her aunt's words. Lucia laughs, observing her face for a while before bursting out laughing. Kate raises her hand, offering Lucia a handshake. Call me Kate, she tells her gorgeously. How bold. I've never seen a noble lady offer a handshake, Lucia thought, looking at Kate's hand. Ah, Kate says softly, getting red from shame. Oh dear, please excuse my rudeness. It's a habit of mine, but even though my great-aunt always scolds me, I can't seem to fix it, Kate says, holding her hand back over her shoulder, wearing an awkward smile. Lucia giggles softly before offering her hand for a handshake, puzzling Kate. She considered Kate just the way Count Corzin said. She's cheerful, honest, and seems like she's dazzling with light, she thought as Kate offered her hand in return to shake her smiling. They shook hands in a friendly way. You can call me by my first name, too, Vi. Lucia was about to say Vivian but halted her speech. Vivian. It still doesn't feel like my name, she thought, as she didn't say anything to Kate. Is it okay for a friend to call me by that name? She thought. It feels like I'm hiding my true self from the very beginning, she thought. Lucia, call me Lucia. It's my childhood name, she tells her, laughing. They both shook hands, smiling. Later in the evening, Jerome informs Lucia that dinner was ready. I'll be right there, Jerome, she replies, turning to see him. Kate, she thought, pondering over their encounter. She's my first friend who's around my age. It's too bad we already had to part ways. I'm sure I can see her again later, Lucia thought. I should definitely invite her to my next tea party, she remarked, to which she says yeah in excitement. Next time, we can talk for much longer, right? She wonders, watching the sunset. The next day, Lucia was reading her book when she was interrupted by a handmaiden. My lady, Lady Kate Milton is here to visit, she says with a bow. Lucia is perplexed. Kate? She thought, turning red, rising from her seat almost immediately. Where did you bring her? She asks the handmaiden. She is in the parlor on the first floor, she tells Lucia. I didn't think I'd get to see her again so soon, she thought, puzzled and excited about her early visit. Lucia swung the door open to see Kate holding a cup of tea. Lucia, she exclaims happily. The castle of Roham is so vast. I already drank 2 cups of tea while the maid went to get you. Of course, I drank the tea rather quickly because it's so delicious, but she says excitedly upon seeing Lucia. Lucia cuts her short by beaming a lovely smile. Kate, she says, shutting her up. I was worried about when we would be able to meet again, Lucia thought as she walked up to her. Kate visited Roham often. In no time, they became close friends. Please, stop, wait, please, Lucia says amidst her moans. You want to stop? Duke Hugo asks her as she rests on his chest, both sweating. You're so mean, she tells him, rising from his chest, her eyes teary. Ugh, the Duke thought before thrusting deeper and faster. Ack. Hugh. Wait, Lucia cries out, the sound of moans slipping through her lips. She twitched, her body turning red at the Duke's rhythmic movement, as he smiles faintly. With teary eyes, Lucia felt dizzy, slumping onto the Duke's shoulder. Careful, he says, holding her before kissing her, making her tremble even more. Lucia raises her head before reciprocating his advances by kissing him deeply as he caresses her hair. Duke Hugo's hand moves towards her ear, twirling his hand around her earlobe, causing her to flinch as they kiss more. He watches her reactions with an intention running through his mind. In a sudden twist, he raises her, turning her and placing her on the bed as he stood above her. Lucia watches him with an innocent look. She stutters, unable to call his name as she closes her eyes in fear. Don't move so suddenly, she begged. Sorry, I just can't hold back right now, he tells her, blushing. Lucia flinches as she blushes more at his words. You said that would be the last time. Lucia tells him, feeling scared. Why again? She thought. Let's do it just one more time. This will really be the last time. Okay? He asks, pleading they do it again. That's what you said before. I won't fall for it again, she tells him. Really? I promise, please? The Duke begs her, blushing. Ugh, she exclaims, looking at him blushing. Well then, all right, Lucia tells him, giving in to his advances. Really, this is the last time, she tells him. All right. I promise, he tells her softly before they both kiss, entering the moment. He lets go of her lips momentarily, observing her face as he blushed. You fell for it again, you're so cute that I can't stop, he tells her before they go under the sheets for another round. Hugh, Lady Kate said something funny this afternoon, Lucia tells him, resting against his chest. Lady Kate, that's Count Milton's daughter, the one who's been coming here a lot recently, he thought. Count Milton was a vassal of a duke's house. He had an upright and rigid personality. He has a reputation for raising his children properly, just as one would expect from someone of his nature. That's why Duke Hugo let his daughter become close with his wife. Looks like they've grown quite close, he thought. What did she say? He asks Lucia, causing her to lean forward, raising her head. Well, if being close with her means Vivian enjoys her life in the north, then it's a good thing, he thought. Well, she says, she asked me if you forbid me from leaving the castle. She wondered if you dislike me going outside, she says, smiling, causing Duke Hugo to be tensed instantly. It's true that he hates it, she thought, smiling, but I told her you are not that kind of person, Lucia says, resting against his chest. Lady Kate. She's sharp, he thought, flinching. Then Lady Kate asked me to go horseback riding with her, Lucia tells him. Horseback riding? Duke Hugo asks her almost immediately. She says it's fun and good exercise as well. May I learn how to ride? She asked, beaming with joy, remembering all Kate's words about horseback riding being a refreshing sport. Kate encouraged her that once she gets to know the horses she would realize that there's no animal as gentle as them. She also encouraged her that if she practiced regularly she would get the hang of it quickly and that it's a very popular sport among ladies these days. It will be dangerous, he told her. She said it's not that dangerous, and she had said a lot of ladies ride horses these days, she tells him firmly, causing him to worry a little as he observed her. Do you want to learn that badly? He asks her. Horseback riding, he thought in worry. I don't want other men to see Vivian riding a horse, Duke Hugo thought to himself, imagining Lucia in equestrian attire puzzled him greatly. You won't let me? She asks him with pitiful eyes. Well, he said, terrified by her eyes. You can do whatever you want, he thought. Ha, he thought to himself, barely managing to stop himself. This is the first time she's asking me for something since we got married. If I refuse, she'll be disappointed. I don't want to disappoint her, he thinks to himself, contemplating Lucia's request. But a stable where only women can enter. There's probably nothing like that in Rome. Looks like I'd better make one now, he says to himself before they kiss. Not only was there no place like that in Rome, but there was no such stable in all of Xenon. This was a historic moment, when the first women-only stable was made. In the distant future, it would become an important place for socializing among the ladies of high society in the north. However, it started from the desire of one man to prevent other men from seeing his wife. All right, but only if you promise to stay within the castle grounds until you learn to ride safely on your own, he tells her softly. In the meantime, I'll make a women-only stable. 1 week should be enough, he thought. Okay, so then you're giving me permission to learn, she says, her eyes sparkling. Be careful not to get hurt, he tells her, granting her request. I should find an instructor for her, a female instructor, Duke Hugo thought softly. Thank you, she tells him. I'll be careful, she says, jumping up and hugging him. I knew it. Of course. He wouldn't forbid me from going outside. Gosh, Kate is so silly. Hugh isn't that kind of person, Lucia thought as she hugged him passionately. Her memory drifted down memory lane, recalling her discussion with Kate Milton. Lucia, you're not forbidden from going outside, are you? Does His Excellency dislike it if you leave? You're always inside the castle, Kate asks her, looking worried. He's not like that. I've just never talked about going anywhere. I occasionally hold tea parties and you visit me often, Lucia says with a smile. Duke Hugo squeezes her tightly in his embrace. Vivian, what am I going to do with you? He thought. Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell. Your comments mean the world to us and help us improve. The next episode promises even more excitement and unexpected twists, so stay tuned as we embark on this thrilling journey together. Keep the anticipation alive and we'll catch you in the next episode.